Welcome to Takeaways, Life Lessons Learned. My guest today is Nick Palmeri. Nick is the owner of Gaetano's Restaurante in Henderson. If you listen to Joe Rogan or Theo Vaughn, you've likely heard of Gaetano's because Joe's given you many shout-outs over the years.
Many shout-outs, yes.
And Theo gave you a recent shout-out. I forgot which UFC they were all here for.
It was the last UFC card back in June.
In June, they all came to your restaurant after.
Yep, and Joe was there Saturday night this weekend with Tony Hinchcliffe. They had a good time.
And also the champ.
The champ
Alex was
Pereira,
there?
Yeah, he does his pre-fight dinners at the restaurant.
So that was pre-fight?
Pre-fight dinner. So every Friday before his fights, he comes in with his team. He had about 25 people. The weigh-in before, he had a weigh-in at 205. He weighed at, I think, 204.8.
Right.
Within 24 hours, he gained 27 pounds. People think that's impossible. The problem is a lot of those fighters, majority of the weight is hydration. So they drink a lot of fluids. And it's interesting. You look at someone very powerful, strong, could probably kill everybody in my restaurant at one time with his crew. Not just saying, like, hypothetically. Mm-hmm. And he's just like so focused. He doesn't talk to anybody when he comes in for about 45 minutes to an hour because his body is trying to replenish all these nutrients and whatnot.
So let me understand. So he weighs in, and then he comes to your restaurant to eat.
He weighs in Thursday night.
Thursday night, okay.
204.8.
Right. When does he come to Gaetano's? Friday?
Friday night.
Friday night for dinner.
Yes. And
so the whole day he's like rehydrating.
Mostly rehydrating, eating food slowly, and then when dinner comes, he's like ready to rock and roll. He's like bowl and a half of pasta, a lot of bread, a little bit of salad. I got these special Piemontese Fasona tomahawks that, like, they're insane. Like, one tomahawk each is 3.5 pounds of meat. With the bone, it's probably a pound, so you're looking at 2.5 pounds, 2.75. He definitely ate 2/3 of that. There were guys at that table bigger than him, which was crazy. There was one fighter from Japan. He's up and coming in MMA. He's 24 years old. He's 6'8", weighs 280 pounds. And Alex's coach is coaching this guy, and he said he eats 20 pounds of food a day. So he goes, give this guy one tomahawk for himself. He freaking finished it. It was like,
now, Joe Rogan got connected to you in your restaurant back in Calabasas. We'll talk about that. How did you get connected with Alex?
So there's a sideline reporter for the UFC who's Brazilian, and she loves our restaurant. Before she had a kid, she used to come in like every 2 to 3 months. And Alex just started getting bigger and bigger, and it got to a point where he couldn't go out to eat anymore on the strip because, like, people are like,
he's like
starstruck,
yeah.
Bothering him. And he's very, believe it or not, he's a very quiet guy, very chill. So he doesn't like that. So she recommended the place to us, and they've been coming in 4 or 5 times already.
Wow. All right. You're going to hear a lot more about Gaetano's, the restaurant, this remarkable establishment, all the people behind it. But sticking with you, were you born in Calabasas?
Yes. I was born in the Calabasas area, but I pretty much grew up there until age 16.
That's when you moved to Vegas?
Yeah, I moved to Vegas in 2020. I'm sorry, January 2000. I moved here in the middle of high school, which was very, very difficult. I grew up with friends that I had since I was 2-3 years old, and then my parents decided to semi-retire out here. That's a short but complex conversation. But yeah, I grew up in California, loved it growing up there. Even if I won Powerball, I'd probably never move back there, but it's nice to visit. I grew up playing soccer. I was very active in my youth group. That's how sort of met you before we became fraternity brothers. And I loved it. Growing up in the restaurant business, it was wild. When I watch Sebastian Maniscalco, I laugh so hard when I watch his stuff because it reminds me when he talks about his father from Sicily, it's like 100% my father. So what happens is like in Calabasas, there's a lot of affluent people. My parents did well, but they always like grounded us a bit, But I had friends who were like getting their driver's license and their parents are giving them, this is in the mid 90s, $1,000 a month allowance and like, don't bother me, right? So if you give a kid $1,000 a month allowance, they're going to start doing stupid shit like, I don't know, drugs, parties, hanging out late at night, whatever. So the thing is where my parents were like, especially my dad, he's like, I'm not giving you money to pick up the dog poop. I'm not giving you money to make your bed. I'm not paying you money to give you chores around the house. If you want to make money, come to the restaurant, right? So I remember when I was 10 years old, my first day working at the restaurant was Valentine's Day. And this was when like Calabasas was like a little bit smaller than what it is now. And 2 doors down from us, there was an event planning business. And my dad would always my dad was old school Sicilian. Like he always made deals with people and like he was sort of a hustler. Like he knew how to make money in a legitimate way, right? He wasn't a swindler. He just liked helping people out and making money, right? So this lady who had this event planning shop, he's like, I need 150 or 12 dozen roses for Valentine's Day. So he'd like bring your lunches and stuff and this and that. So I was the guy who had to hand out roses when I was 10 years old, right? So after the roses were done, it's like the restaurant's chaos. Valentine's Day is my least favorite holiday. It's like two top city. So two tops in restaurants are like 2 people, two top city. 98% of the people who come out for Valentine's Day never dine out in a nice restaurant ever, or they just like, and like the 10% find it nostalgic going out on Valentine's Day. My wife and I have a rule. We don't celebrate Valentine's Day. We go out once a week, and that's like our Valentine's Day. So get back to my story. Flowers are done. So I go to my dad. I go, there's no more flowers to give out. And he goes, follow a busboy and figure it out. So I'm like, okay. So I'm following a busboy. I'm 10 years old. I'm like this tall, right? And I go to a table. I'm clearing the plates, and this lady goes, oh my God, you're so cute. Are you the owner's son? I go, yeah, I'm the owner's son. How was everything tonight? And she's like, I really like that sauce. How do you make it? I go, I don't know. It's my first day at work. It's my first day on the job. So that was my first experience with the restaurant business. And every week, so like my parents had this like scheme going on with me and my brothers, because I have my oldest brother, Michael. He's 4.5 years older than me. Danny and I are 21 months apart. So it was like Friday nights are super busy, right? So when Michael went to college, Danny played football. So I had a host on Fridays, right? And this is before POS systems. Everything had to be handwritten. Not only that, but we had a 56K modem credit card processor. So it was the magnetic strip. It would take 1.5 minutes on average to run a credit card. We had to handwrite the checks. If we handwrote the checks wrong, my dad would take it out of our tips to teach us a lesson, because he's like, why am I paying for your mistake? So, but the cool thing was, like, on Saturdays, one of my most favorite things doing as a kid is Saturdays there was an amazing farmer's market in Calabasas right next to the restaurant. And my dad and I would go to the farmer's market, and there was this, like, amazing vegetables, fruits, like honey, all this different stuff. And it wasn't like these, like, kooky farmers markets where they're selling, like, crystals and rocks and all this BS. It was like legit farmers market because all the farmers from Camarillo and Ventura County would come, which was like a 45-minute drive to an hour and a half. So my dad and I would go. We'd walk around. And he starts looking at stuff, and in Italy at the farmers markets, like if you touch the produce, they'll like go off at you. But like the farmers let him touch it because they know he's like restaurant owner, this and that. So he's smelling this and that, and he goes, "All right, let's go to the restaurant." And I go, "Dad, why don't we just buy the fruit here?" And he goes, "Just watch, just watch." So my dad's whole motto, growing up in the restaurant business, is like, you can ask questions. I won't show you how to do it, but you just have to watch. Just watch what I'm doing and you'll learn, right? So the farmer's market closes at noon. We show up at 10 or 11:40.
At the farmer's market.
Back at the farmer's market. Farmers are starting to wrap up and everything. And,
wait. So you go to the farmer's market when it opens and kind of like
scope it.
He's
out.
scouting, right?
Scouting,
He's scouting.
Scouting.
And then he leaves.
We
doesn't buy anything.
We go to the restaurant.
You go to the restaurant.
I'm cleaning toilets or whatever.
Okay.
I'm 11 years old.
And
10 years old.
now 20 minutes before the farmer's market is closing.
We go back.
You go back. Okay.
So, of course, people overpick fruit that's overripened. We had a ice cream machine or gelato machine, so we'd make fresh sorbets there. And then we'd go, and my dad would go to the farmers in his thick Sicilian accent. He goes, "Give me the shit that no one wants. Give me the you don't want to bring this back an hour and a half away because on Monday it's going to go bad." So then, like, if a crate of something was like $4, he'd get it for $2.50 because the guys know by the time they go back to Ventura County, they have to either sell it at the farmer's market tomorrow or it's going to go bad. Mm-hmm. So he would do that type of stuff, and then that night they'd make fresh sorbets or a special for something. So it was like I saw how he did things and how he interacted with people. I thought he was crazy at some times in my life, and I'm sure working with your dad, you're like, what is this guy doing? Yeah. But when you get older, you take those nuances and, you smile and laugh about it because you're like, geez, I'm just like Dad now. It's sort of funny.
Yeah. That's a good warm-up.
Yes.
Let me just finish with your bio, and then I'm going to turn it back over to you. So you moved here at age 16.
Yes.
You went to UNLV. You graduated with a degree in marketing.
Correct.
You mentioned Danny. Danny's your older brother.
Yes.
We know him in the commercial real estate industry as Dan.
Yes.
Which is, as I was researching this, I saw your mom referenced him as Danny, and you called him Danny.
Yeah.
Maybe now he'll let me call him Danny. So Dan's your brother. He was on the most recent episode of Takeaways, episode 68. I thought it'd be cool to release you guys back to back.
Appreciate it.
But sort of rounding out your bio, you're a business owner, a restaurateur, a traveler, a marketer, a cyclist, a hunter. I added curious learner.
Yes.
A sommelier. I don't know officially or not, but
I'm into learning about new wines and all that. I just know what good Italian wines pair with food. Ask me about French wines. I don't know.
All right. I would add mixologist.
Yes, sir.
And then I've seen you in the restaurant. It seems like you're not just the owner. You're like the shift leader sometimes, a server sometimes, a host sometimes.
I do everything.
Do you still wash dishes, though?
If I have to, yeah.
When was the last time you had to wash dishes at the restaurant?
Last time I had to wash dishes was last Tuesday when I made some stuff during the day. And I was like, you know what? There's certain you don't want to leave pots sitting for like someone.
Yeah.
So if you cook something in a pot, you want to clean it right away, or else it's just going to get thick, and it takes more time and water and energy to clean it. So like, I don't mind
get it
doing
done.
it. Yeah, get it done.
All right, that's you. Let me officially welcome you to the Takeaways podcast, Nick.
Thank you.
All right, so it's already evident. I even wrote down the Palmeris are such good storytellers.
Yes.
So I'm going to do the same thing with you that I did with Dan. You already started sort of getting into your childhood in Calabasas, but give me your life arc from your first day on the job at 10 years old to now owning and operating Gaetano's, and then we'll circle back on takeaways and on things that you share.
Okay, I'll give you a good example. I'll give you a good story. So this is one of my favorite stories to tell. When I was growing up in the restaurant business, like you mentioned before, you know, Alex Pereira comes to the restaurant, Joe Rogan, and some of these famous people, and I have employees that are like, "Can I stay and talk to them?" I go, "They don't want to talk to you. They're just regular people. They don't want to be bothered. They want to enjoy themselves." So growing up in Calabasas, there was famous people there all the time. And this is one of my favorite stories to tell of all time. And I might have a few curse words in this story, but apologize, people. So
we're getting the authentic story.
The authentic story. So this was a really busy Saturday night. I must have been 11 or 12 years old. Full suit and tie, writing checks, and trying to help seat people. So back in the day, now you have an iPad that has open table. I could even do open table through my phone. That's how great things are now. Back in the day, you used to have a reservation book about, when you open it up, it's about this big, okay? And it was about that thick. It was a burgundy reservation book.
So it's like what, 2 to 3 feet when you open it up, and
it was about I don't know, you figure 3 inches thick, and when you open it up, it was about 2 foot, two and a half.
A map of the restaurant inside?
No, it was just writing names and phone numbers and what time they'd like to come.
Okay.
Right? So on a Saturday, the book would be full. From one page, you do 5 o'clock all the way to last seating, 9 o'clock. So it was about 7:30, which is like crazy busy. How our restaurant was laid out was a little, you know, my dad started with 6 tables. By the time we sold it, it sat 200 people. So,
wow.
You know, making it more efficient was hard. But like the bar was, on the weekend, it would be like 2-3 people deep just waiting, because back then you had more diners than you do now. So to talk about diners is like someone who grabs a cocktail. They want a cocktail or two. After their cocktail, they'll have a bottle of wine with the table, 1 or 2. Just say there's 2 people. They'll have 1 bottle of wine, 1 or 2 cocktails, and then after dinner, they'll have like a brandy or whatever. But to my story, I'm busy. I'm writing checks. I look up and I go, it's my first starstruck moment. I go, oh shit, it's Robin Hood. And I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, HBO, it's not like today's streaming. These kids have it so good now. But HBO used to, if the most popular movie was a hit, they would show it 2 times a day, forever how long their metric show. It was good. And at that time, Robin Hood Men's in Tights, that Mel Brooks produced, was there. So Robin Hood shows up. Carrie Ells, okay, and he was also in Princess Bride. He shows up with this like beautiful bombshell blonde lady, and I go, "Hi, how you doing, sir?" Like my puberty like high pitched voice, and I go, "How you doing, sir?" And he's like, "Table for 2," and I go, "What's the name?" He goes, "Carrie Ells," okay, and I go, "Son of a bitch!" I'm like, does Carrie start with a C or a K? So I start looking at the reservation book, because when you seat someone, you scratch it off. I'm like 7:30, 8:30. There's no names with the C or a K. I go, hold on one moment. I'll be right back, sir. So I'm shifting through all this people in the bar area. I find my dad. I go, Dad, I need you right now. And he like looks at me. He goes, what the hell is going on? Like, what's wrong? I go, Robin Hood is here. And he's from Italy. He doesn't know
the movie reference.
He doesn't know who Robin Hood is, right? So I go, Robin Hood. I go, Robin Hood's here. And he looks at me. He goes, who the fuck is Robin Hood? And I go, he's on HBO. He's on HBO like every day. He's here. He wants a table for 2, no reservation. My dad like scoffs me off. He goes, tell him 30 to 40 minutes. So I'm like sweating. I'm like, oh my God, I got to tell Robin Hood he's got to wait for a table. I go back and I go, sir, it's going to be my father said it's going to be about 30 or 40 minutes. He gives me $100 handshake. He goes, how about now? I go, I'll be right back. So I find my dad and I go, Dad, Robin Hood gave me $100. It's true that they steal from the rich and give to the poor. And my dad goes, okay, put him on table 15. The next person, I buy him around the drinks I was supposed to sit there. So like I saw like the action, right? And when the restaurant was busy, like this weekend, we had like a rehearsal dinner and then we had Pereira's party and the whole restaurant. And there's so much action and it's like an art form. If you had like a POV camera on me in slow motion, and it's like you like finger point and you hand signals and you talk and when it's super busy like on a Christmas or New Year's, the synchronization of people, just the workers walking around and just knowing everybody's movement, it's magical. It's almost watching those NFL films when they used to have like the orchestra playing in the background and they're doing like slow motion. So when I learned from my dad one time. I remember when I was at UNLV and I came in. So when we opened up the restaurant, it was a week after I graduated high school out here. And I've been there ever since. And I remember UNLV, remember back in the day, they had the 3-day schedule. So it was like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Right. And so I would work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, lunch, doubles. So I worked 3 doubles and 2 weekends.
What's a double?
A double is if you work a day shift and a night shift.
So like a lunch dinner?
Yeah. Okay. So when we opened up the restaurant out here, we were open from lunch from 11 to 2:30. So I showed up at 9:30. I had to clean the floors, toilets, food prep, bust. And then 8 months before we closed for lunch, I was a server. I was old enough to serve, and that's how I like got my serving chops to deal with like the Red Hat old lady clubs, which were a nightmare, and just dealing with people on a like different level, right? So I would work. So when I worked as a food prep, my dad would say, I go, Dad, how do you cut vegetables like this? How do you cut the garlic like this? How do you cut this? And he goes, Nick, if I show you, you won't learn. If you physically try it, you won't learn. You have to just watch and observe. And I think, my dad never graduated middle school. He went to Genoa when he was 16 years old. My grandmother knitted $100 in his pants just in case if he got mugged or robbed or whatever. And he took that $100 and made a legacy for himself. He was very street smart and very good with numbers. I just think he just didn't like school like my brother Danny and I. I'm really good. I had a learning disability when I was younger. I was in speech therapy for, 12 years. My mom thought I was like I didn't start talking when I was almost 3 years old. She thought something was wrong with me. And I love working with teams, working with people. When I went to UNLV, I loved working in group settings. But the thing is, when it came to tests, I'm horrible at tests. Like, don't.
What happens? Like, do you blank on answers?
Here's the thing. It's not that I blank on answers. I have no desire to study for a subject that I don't care about. And even if it's a subject that I do care about, my attention span is so screwed up that it's like I'm like done. I'm like over it. So with the restaurant, it's easy proof for me, but I've been doing it for so long. It's if an average person was in my shoes for 2 days, they're like, I don't even know how you do this. It's wild.
When you were talking earlier about the POV camera, what came to my mind is like when you watch a tennis match.
Yeah.
And like after the point, they'll play it back and they'll freeze an image of the player, like where they hit the ball. And you could see like in the span of 1 point,
right,
like the amount of court that they cover.
Right.
You should try that. You should.
I do it on my watch. I wear an Apple Watch. I don't know how accurate the pedometer is on it, but on an average day, I'll do about 8 to 10 miles on my feet.
Every day. How many days a week?
Minimum 5. About 7 on a big holiday. I'll do a half marathon walking
per day.
Yeah, on a big holiday season. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Let me ask you the question I ask everybody on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What's been the single most influential thing or event in your life that's defined or shaped you the most?
I'd say my father's death. I'm not going to try to cry, but
It's okay. You can cry.
So
we're old friends.
When this is one reason why I don't have kids, right? When you work in the restaurant business, especially a family restaurant, the commitment is so big, even though we're one restaurant, is that the first 18 years of my life, I only saw my father when he went to my soccer games on Saturday morning, or we went to the farmer's market, or Mondays when he had off, and Sunday mornings. That was pretty much it. He would work 4 doubles a week plus Saturday and Sunday night. Okay? So when we would come home from school, he'd be sleeping on the couch, taking a nap. God forbid you wake him up, he'll throw a shoe at you. Like, don't wake up dad, right? Mm-hmm. And then the first 3 years of us owning the restaurant in Henderson, I spent more time with my dad than I did the first 18 years of my life. Okay? So he taught me everything I know about business, how to deal with people. The day that he had his heart attack, screwed me up. It was 2 days after his 70th birthday. After he had dinner, he stood by my mom and I, and all of a sudden he goes, oh, something just doesn't feel right. And thank God, one of our regulars and good friends, and he's a doctor, he usually comes in the evenings on like a weekday. He was there that night, right when we opened. He's like, all right, let me get you to the hospital, call 911. We'll get the best people at St. Rose to take care of you, blah, blah, blah. So I had customers still dining at the restaurant. And it was in the summertime. It was in August. So it was sort of slow, you know. And I was hosting I was serving and managing that night. And we had a host and whatnot. And all these people are like, is your dad going to be okay? And I'm like, he's got 9 lives. He had open heart surgery when he was 46. He's had other health issues. He just bounces back even stronger. He'll be all right. I knew something was wrong on his actual birthday. He just didn't look right, you know? And he's the kind of guy who hates hospitals, and he just doesn't want to, he just didn't want to go to a hospital. He freaking hates them, right? He goes to the hospital, and I had these other customers come in. Hey, we thought your dad would be here. Where's it? Like, he's on vacation. So then my mind started playing games with me. I'm like, all right, my dad's in the hospital dying. I got to lie. I got to play this off, because if I say, hey, my dad just had a heart attack, then people came, you know, here's the thing. When people go to dinner, especially in a nice restaurant, they want to relax. They want to feel comfortable. But if I tell them my father had a heart attack, then they're like, we can't be here, right? So he was in the ICU, I think 10 or 11 days. And every single day, I would go there, visit him in the morning, and then I would go to the restaurant. And people are like, hey, where's your dad? I'm like, oh, he's on a trip with my mom, you know. And I was like, this is a little tough, right? So, my wife and I were supposed to go to Vermont for our 1-year anniversary. Canceled that because our anniversary was the day before he died. And I look like a very, you can be, it's funny. Ever since his passing, I look at people a different way. So like, I'm a very strong person, like emotionally, physically. You're the same too, knowing you for over the years. So what happened was the night before he passed, my wife and I go out to dinner for our anniversary. My friend Stu, who worked for a big liquor distributor, meets us, takes care of the bill. He's like, get whatever you want. I go to the hospital like 11 o'clock at night. This is 6 months before COVID, thank God. Because if it was during COVID, I would have lost my mind. So I go to the hospital. I told him goodbye. Because I knew the next day there'd be family and everything. It would be a whole deal. So when he passed away, to sort of backtrack about a decade, when I graduated from UNLV with the marketing degree, it was for the sole purpose to get out of the restaurant business. I tried insurance and finance with my oldest brother. I got all the license and everything. I tried doing a startup with a fellow fraternity brother. I tried to do some other things, and the insurance business didn't. All the other stuff failed, right? The insurance business didn't fail, but I didn't enjoy it. And one reason why I didn't enjoy it, because all my friends were still single. They weren't married. They didn't have kids, all this stuff. So how am I going to sell insurance and other stuff to someone who doesn't have a purpose, right? So after my dad died, it was interesting. So there was this weird period because when he was still alive, my parents were trying to sell the restaurant because I had no intention of taking it over. No intention. When he died, I was fully committed, right? But I had a lot of doubts because my best friend from college, he tries to do a startup with assisted living type of consulting, but once we got all the paperwork through, like Nevada just passed a law making it harder for people to do that. So during COVID, these people were interested in buying the restaurant, right? And we had this meeting, and they're like, "Well, I never met him before." The guy was like, I don't know, he was an insurance guy from Northern California. His wife ran district manager for chain restaurants, and they show up. She stunk like cigarettes. She looked like she was still like partying in the 80s. She got all the fluff hair, and I'm just like, I'm looking at my mom, and I'm like, all right, so what's the deal? Like, if we sell the restaurant, how do you want me to play a role? And they're like, well, we're going to pay you this amount and work for us for a year. So I'm like doing the math, and I'm like, I can make 1.5 times this or twice as a server, and you're going to pay me this amount, and I've already done my sweat equity, you know? Mm-hmm. So when they left, my mom goes, what do you think? And I go, I think I'm going to buy the restaurant from you. And she's like, what? And I go, I think I'm going to buy the restaurant from you. I go, I've tried everything. I've always been fully committed, but like I should have been fully committed in a takeover standpoint when I was in my mid-20s. But
so sorry, this is 6 months after your father passed away, roughly?
Yeah. No, this was 9 months after.
9 months.
Yeah.
So this is, you said it was right before the shutdowns is when he went into the hospital.
Yeah. August.
Now, I'm going to talk a lot about your period at the restaurant in COVID and kind of like what we saw from the outside. Yeah. So I really want to timestamp this to make sure I'm wrapping my head around what you're saying.
Yeah.
So this is like you got through the shutdowns.
Yeah.
And this is around August.
August 2019 was when my father passed.
Okay.
This meeting we had with the
2019, so it was right before. So we shut down in March,
March
right?
2020.
Okay.
And then
when was the meeting with the
like
80s
end of May
cigarette smoker?
End of May 2020.
How would you describe the guy?
He was a normal dude, but his wife just wanted a freaking restaurant.
Yeah. All right. So Tell me again when it was.
Just say June 2020.
June. So this is now summer of COVID.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
After we had the lift of the 50% or the
we'll get into. I'm gonna I really want to get into that.
I might need to have a sip of this too.
Well, let's do a little segment. What are we sipping here?
Okay, so speaking of COVID,
this is a COVID era drink.
COVID era drink. This is called the Sicilian Old Fashioned.
That's what this is here.
During COVID, they passed I was actually in the front of the Review Journal Nevada State section, business section, of pushing for wine and cocktails to be sold curbside by restaurants. At that time, alcohol is a big revenue generator for restaurants. And later on, I could go through all the crazy numbers and whatever. But typically, it's about 10 to 20% of sales. We didn't have those sales coming. So I'm like, I got all this inventory of wine and alcohol. It's going to collect dust for what? Another year? So we petitioned with the state with this big fight to do it. I was on the cover. You know, a $30 bottle of wine doesn't do you any good. Just say $30 my cost doesn't do you any good when it's sitting on a shelf waiting for your restaurant to open back up. So what we did is, and usually markups on wine is like, in this town is 4 to 5%. Mine aren't that high because I want people to buy and enjoy it. So I'd literally charge that $30 bottle of wine. I would charge $10 over just to move it. Just because people don't want to go to the grocery store, because then it's like, it was such BS back then. It was like, you can't go 6 feet apart. You got to be careful where you go. Certain places, there's limitations on how many people, you know. So if people can come to me and get food to go and a bottle of wine, I win. I win no matter what if they buy whatever.
So before you guys petition this, just so everyone understands, a restaurant has a liquor license that you could sell alcohol inside the establishment.
Correct.
Now, nobody's going into the establishment because they're not allowed to. And I remember all the restaurants set up like tables outside. You call in the order, you show up, you grab it off the table, and you take it home. That was like how we did dining back then.
Yeah.
And now you're petitioning to say, so that you as a restaurant, you're like basically augmenting your license to be able to sell something like this and put it in a to-go bag when I come pick up my food.
Yes.
Otherwise, you can't.
Yes. And the thing with this, for example, so to backtrack 3 years from COVID, I was really into mixology. I was in the bartending guild for Las Vegas for 5 years. Before the casinos did all the bullshit parking fees and all that, we'd have events on the strip once or twice a week with amazing seminars on like how to bottle your own cocktail, how to make a cocktail out of a draft, how to make clarified milk punch. There was one that was amazing. It was probably the coolest one I ever went to. It was with Tanqueray. It was the national ambassador for Tanqueray. And we were in Libertine Social, and they give you a neutral spirit, but they had this massive table of every single type of botanical you can think of. So you know those like shakers with the CO2 canisters, you do like whipped cream and stuff like that? Well, they had those, but with grain alcohol, like Everclear. So you put Everclear in it, right? And then you add junipers and all this stuff. You shake it, and then you diluted it a little bit with a little bit of water, but then you made your like own gin, like instant gin. It was pretty cool. So like seminars like that, I learned a lot from. So with these bottles, there was two major stipulations. You had to have a warning on it, like they do with all alcohol, you know, pregnant, this and that, whatever. No consumption, motor vehicle.
So this says down here government warning, and the text is pretty small.
Yeah.
It's there, okay.
It was the minimum text that I can do for regulation. And then on the top, I have these sleeves I put on with a heat gun, and it seals it. So a lot of restaurants, they were giving people styrofoam cups with the lid on top. So the problem is, if you do that, the problem is that someone can just open it up and drink it in their car. So I have proof that I put a seal on it. That was the big kicker. And we petitioned all that stuff. And I'm actually working with the city of Henderson right now on doing the same thing, because the Nevada legislature just passed a law saying that restaurants can do it again, but it's per jurisdiction. So I'm working with the city of Henderson, putting some things together for them to do that. So, yeah, so we got alcohol to go. The biggest thing that COVID taught me was pivot. Our other fraternity brother, Dan Levy, and I, we were in LA for a concert and comedy show on March 13th. No, it was March 10th. It was March 10th, right? Well, in LA, March 11th, everything shut down. We all thought this COVID thing was like a joke. We were like, people are wearing like a 5-gallon bucket over their head with in like Asia. We just thought it was a joke, right? Until it came here. So I remember leaving Burbank Airport. I had a 10:15 flight. So in the concert venue, everybody was on their cell phone. So I never got the text from Southwest saying that my flight was pushed back to 1:30, right? Mm-hmm. So I get to the airport. I still don't see the text. And then and they go, your flight's been delayed till 1:30. I go, what about all the other Vegas flights? Oh, we consolidated them all for this one flight because everybody's canceling their flights. So I'm in the airport. People are wearing masks. Like, what the hell's going on here? So I'm wrapping my head around it. And my mom still had the power of the purse at the restaurant. I go, Mom, we gotta spend like $2,000 or $3,000 right now this week. She's like, what?
Spend what?
$2,000 or $3,000 on to-go containers. I went to every single place.
So you're kind of like foreshadowing what's going to happen in Las Vegas.
I knew exactly.
So you're literally on the last flight out of California because they consolidated to 1:30 a.m.
Yeah. I knew what
and
was.
So you call your mom. You're like, if California's shutting down, we're shutting down next.
Yeah.
And you need to-go containers.
To-go containers, to-go silverware, plastic bags. I went to our janitorial supply company at the time, filled up the whole back of my trunk with hand sanitizer, all the stuff you needed. And then I call up my meat broker that I've used for 40 years. I go, Terry, they're based out of California. I go, Terry, how bad is it? He goes, Nick, it's bad. I go, what do I need to do to buy X amount of meat before it goes up? He goes, buy as much as you can. About 200 pounds of short ribs.
So in the context, like how much short ribs do you typically buy otherwise?
Oh, you buy 10 pounds. It'll last you a week.
And but then you bought 200 pounds.
About 200 pounds because I knew the price would go up 50 to 70%. And that's when the meat plants shut down. Mm-hmm. And then I used that for specials or whatever on the to-go menu. Our seafood suppliers, one of them out here, I ordered 150 pounds of salmon. I typically go through 15 pounds in a week. And the guy, I go, Mom, I don't have time to pick it up. You pick it up. She picks it up. And the guy, Gary, who runs the spot, he's like, oh, man, I just had to lay off like 120 people. We don't know when we're going to open back up. So what happened was I pivoted. And I've been pivoting ever since. The problem is in this business, in the restaurant business, it's the hardest, easiest business to be in, right? It doesn't take a dummy like me to be in this business or other people. You just have to work harder and outsmart your competition.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was at UNLV, Jack Shabrowski, who was my professor, and he goes, Nick, name your competition. And the first word out of my mouth was McDonald's. And he goes, McDonald's is your competition? I go, anywhere where someone can put food in their mouth is my competition. Right? So it sounds crazy, but I still look at that today. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, for me taking over the restaurant and elevating it a little bit higher, now my competition's like more higher end in Italian restaurants. Doesn't matter if
I was going to ask if you still believe that McDonald's is your competition.
Sometimes. Yeah.
But like your customers, you have a pretty good handle on who they are.
Yes. 100%.
Where they're coming from.
Yes.
And then, their choices, they're not necessarily choosing McDonald's over Gaetano's.
Absolutely not.
They're not spending that dollar in the same way.
But I'm looking at most of my competition now as restaurants and casinos. They're my competition. I aggressively market on Google, and the quality of my product.
We're going to get on. Hold on. Let's stick with COVID.
Okay, so let's stick with COVID. So
we'll stick with COVID, and then I'm going to come. So one of my questions is take me back to the shutdowns. Walk me through the best of your recollection, how things went. And you did that. We got to the packaged drinks, and that's what this is from.
Yeah.
You're now basically hedging food costs with your suppliers.
Yeah.
You're stocking up to be able to deliver food, knowing that the pricing is going to go up. The delivery method's going to change from people coming in to containers.
Pick it up in the back of the restaurant.
At first, it was in the back. Then it was literally in the back, right? Because you couldn't...
during the 2.5 month shutdown, you can only pick it up in the back. I had a phone call system. I don't believe in using Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, whatever, because they take anywhere from 20 to 40%. You don't know who's going to pick up your food, how long it's going to be in the car, if they have bags that insulate it, if they're not health card, if they don't have a health card, things like that. So we actually ran the restaurant out of the back of it. It was like a speakeasy.
Yeah.
It was wild.
And then you're selling these things.
And I said to myself, as much as I hate to say it, I go, thank God my dad's not alive to see this, because he would have lost his shit.
Why?
He lost his shit.
You don't think he would have pivoted like you pivoted?
No, he would have pivoted. But my dad grew up in Sicily, in an area where the mafia was pretty prevalent. And, we'd have politicians who'd come in the restaurant. And he'd treat them like regular people. But my dad always had this saying, politics is a legal form of mafia, right? So he'd probably look at COVID and be like, this is all bullshit. Like, even though, of course people are dying, people, comorbidities, all that stuff. But how it was bullshit to me when I reached out to a fraternity brother, who I'm not going to mention names, but he's high up there in politics. And I reached out to him. He gave me his cell phone number, and he said, reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns. I go, yeah, I do have a question and concern. We lifted the open inside ban. Now it's 50% capacity. And you have people that are literally humping each other in a day pool on the casino with the DJ pumping, and I can't sit full capacity in my restaurant? And then they go, well, if you're outside, it's okay. Let me tell you something. You and I grew up out here. When you go to one of those day pools, there's no fresh air.
It's all contaminated.
It's all contaminated. The pool looks like Exxon Valdez with all the oil.
I'll give you another one that got me back then. It's one thing to compare like an indoor restaurant and then an outdoor pool venue.
Yeah.
But when they send out like, you don't have to wear masks if you're sitting down, but you have to wear them when you're standing up in a restaurant.
Yeah.
So that was the one that kind of got me. And there was actually a meme that was like, picture a two top.
Yeah.
You're sitting, I'm standing. And the arrow pointing at you says, it was like no COVID here.
Right.
And where I'm standing, it's like COVID here. And like that was like the meme image of the
thing that
how ludicrous it was, and where everyone was trying to figure it out, I think, and like trying to do their best back then.
Yeah, we didn't know.
In retrospect, there's a lot of nuts.
Yeah, but the thing that blew my mind the most, and I'll be quick on this. Yeah. I went to a Golden Knights game a week after the mask ban was taken off, and it was a playoff game, right? We go in an elevator. There's 30 people in an elevator. And we're all looking at each other. We're like, we should all be dead right now, right?
Yeah, it was a wild time. I'm going to stick with the COVID thing, and then we'll sort of circle back around. So there's a couple of I've got a personal story around those COVID times. So, you were on social media like crazy, kind of
every day,
documenting what you were doing.
Yeah.
And we were all watching. And that was really a lot of how we were, all of us, staying connected. You were my perception of you were so invested, knee deep, consumed, committed to keeping your restaurant operating.
Right.
And your pivots were palpable. You, like most, did the delivery or the pickup service. You were innovative with these things. some people like would sell, like you're talking about wine or beer or whatever. You actually packaged these guys. I made it a point to drive all the way from Summerlin to the restaurant one night to pick up food and a couple of these things.
Right.
So this is what you have here is the Sicilian Old Fashioned.
Correct.
This is your dad's
photo on there. That's my recipe. I actually created the recipe with my friend Max Messier, who creates the cocktail syrup for that, which is spiced demerara. It's a wild turkey 101 with Amaro Verno, which is Amaro from Sicily, from my family's province, Angostura bitters, and spiced demerara syrup. That's it.
And then the other drink, I've got a collector's item here.
Oh, there you
go.
go.
With me as a show and tell.
Oh, hell yeah. That's the barrel-aged Manhattan.
The Nick's barrel-aged Manhattan.
My recipe. This? That's me when I had hair and a mustache. Yeah, so that is...
You like wild turkey, it looks like.
I do. They're consistent.
Is this a bourbon and this is a rye?
Correct, sir.
Are they both?
That's a bourbon. That's a rye. So the rye we age about 6 to 8 weeks in a barrel. We do Coqui di Torino vermouth and Angostura bitters. But yeah, that's and I actually, the funny thing is, my friend who worked for Campari at the time, I still have a can because I didn't know about these bottles at the time. We have a aluminum can with the Manhattan. Oh wow, that's a collector's item.
Okay,
that's like one out of 30.
Do I go on eBay and wait for someone to sell it? So I got these. I think I got 4 or 2 of these and 2 of these, and I have like 1 and 1 left still. But the other thing that happened during COVID, people got into making things. I had a barrel that was given to me as a gift, like a cool etching or engraving or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm going to put this barrel to use. And I texted you and said, I'm going to make a barrel-aged Boulevardier. Boulevardier is one of my favorite drinks.
One of my favorites, too.
Okay, so fact check what I'm about to say here. I tell people when I order a Boulevardier, and they're like, oh, what's that? I say, it's in the family of an old-fashioned. It's just a little different. Another way to say it's a Negroni with
bourbon or rye.
With bourbon or rye instead of gin.
Yes.
So I love this drink, Boulevardier. I like it with rye. So it's rye, Campari, and vermouth.
That's it.
You do equal parts, 1 ounce, 1 ounce,
yes.
1 ounce. I like to do 2 ounces of rye, 1 ounce, 1 ounce. That's how
a little bit more kick, yeah.
Yeah. But I texted you during COVID. I said, I want to make a barrel, because I knew you had a barrel age program. What do I do? And I didn't realize at the time, like, to the depths of how you're operating.
Right.
And I'm texting you just like a casual friend, and you are replying, which was like, when I think back on that, instead of saying, you know what, I don't have the capacity right now for this. No, you're replying as I would have known that you're dealing with all this. Let alone also, I didn't realize that your father had passed away just before, and now you're in like the restaurant's fight of its life.
Yeah.
And you're doing everything you can to keep this thing going.
Right.
But you text me just like, yeah, here's what you put in there. What I remember you saying is like the rye has to be a high proof.
Yeah.
You were very specific on the vermouth.
100%.
Like Campari's Campari, right?
You can't buy shit vermouth.
Right. You were like, it's got to be this vermouth.
Yes.
And so I throw this thing in a barrel. How long does it take to age? You gave me a range, like
6 to 8 weeks.
So it was like 6 to 8 weeks.
But if it's a smaller barrel, it could actually age less.
So that might have been what it. So you're like, it takes 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah. And then the thing you do with these barrels is like, let's say you wait 6 weeks minimum, and then every day you come, you get a little glass.
Yeah.
You put a little bit from the barrel, and you taste it, and you leave it in the barrel until it's right.
Right.
Now here's the part that totally blew my mind. Is that I don't know when it's right, because I don't know if it's like, is this good enough or that good enough? It's already a great drink. And you're like, no, you have to, it's got to be the right color. All this is by text. And
right.
I'm like, how do I know if it's the right color? And like, send me a picture. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
So I would hold up every day. I'd go after work to the bar. I'd put a little in a rocks glass about like this. I'd hold it up to the white wall.
Yeah.
Like you got to like.
Yeah.
And I would send you a picture. And not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So like every other day, this is going on. A week goes by, not yet. Another week, not yet. Another week, it was like now beyond the 8 weeks, I'm getting impatient, like something's wrong. Not yet. Not yet. And then one day, do you remember this or no?
I do remember it.
One day,
I probably could look back at our
you
text.
write me back and you say, that's it.
Yeah.
And that, like, you taste it. It was so good.
Yeah.
And then I got those little 2-ounce bottles.
Yeah.
And I put all of the barrel in these 2-ounce bottles.
And you always refill it back up immediately.
So I didn't know that back then. My barrel went to shit because you're supposed to fill it back with some liquid so it doesn't get.
Yeah. So what the key is about barrel aging is when you have to put, if you get a brand new barrel, you have to put hot water, like almost like boiling water in it. You let it sit for, I like to say 3 days. So you sit it for 3 days, you empty it, and then you put the alcohol 4 to 6 weeks, 8. But if you're a restaurant, you do 4 to 6 weeks, right? But the thing is, every time you take alcohol out, you have to fill it back up. Because out here it's so dry, the alcohol ages about, the cocktail ages about 40% faster than it would anywhere else in the country. Because we have no humidity, just sucks it all out of the wood. So with that, you always have to refill the barrel. And if you do that consistently, most people, they say, oh, my barrel lasted 2 months. Yeah, because you let it dry out and you got to fill it back up. You can repurpose it with iced tea, but it's better just refilling it. Another thing I want to add about COVID, the reason why I was a maniac during it, and so I had 23 employees, 21 worked part-time or full-time. A lot of friends I had closed their restaurants down because they figured, oh, it's only 2 weeks. And then it became 30 days. And after 30 days, you have to be re-inspected by the health department. Well, guess what? Health department's so jammed that they're like, oh, they can come in 4 days after 30 days. Well, sometimes it took them a month more. Okay? The reason why I stayed open is because of this. My customers didn't want to eat at McDonald's, Popeyes, Chick-fil-A every day because those are the only places that were pretty much open. They wanted good food. Another reason is because if I knew I closed, 80% of my employees would go homeless because some of them, they work 2 jobs and their other jobs closed. And the third reason is because I literally, with my one restaurant, between employees, sales reps, and suppliers, I probably feed 150 people. I support 150 people just buying product. And I knew if I shut down, what's going to happen to those families, right?
Yeah.
So I'm the type of person, like I care more about other people than I do myself sometimes. A lot of the times. And it's crazy. Because my wife says, you need to slow down, you need to take care of yourself. Yeah, after you turn 40, you deal with that stuff. But like I love helping people, you know?
Yeah, I remember. So part of your, like, what is your, back then, what was your thoughts around social media and how you were using it?
I was using it to the point where it was exhausting and to get my message across because here's the deal. I am so thankful I got a degree in marketing because, you know, when we were shut down, it was Easter. It was Mother's Day. It was actually to reopen back up was the weekend of Mother's Day. And people go, you going to open up for Mother's Day? No, because I don't want to run 50% capacity.
Oh, I remember that actually. Yeah. You didn't. So I remember that. There were restaurants were allowed to open and you delayed your opening.
Yes, that weekend.
Yeah.
I did it. It was smart though.
No, that's right. I remember this now.
So I did these packages and I still look at the prices, what I was charging, because it was bullshit before all the bullshit tariffs and inflation and all this stuff. We can get to that in a minute. But the crazy thing is I was charging like $160 for a family of 6, full on meal, like lamb shanks and salad and this and that. And I sold on Easter and Mother's Day that year was my best Easter and Mother's Day I ever had.
Ever?
Since we opened in 20 years or 18 years. It was the best. I think I did something like 70 takeout meals, family meals. Yeah. Yeah, it was wild. But, you know, the thing that my father taught me that played a role in my success, my dad didn't know how to use a computer. He learned how to use an iPhone about 4 years before he died, right? So he always taught me on relationships and cost control. And this is where a lot of restaurants get it wrong, right? I still know. I'm one of those weird people that never deletes an email. I've got like between all my emails, I probably got 100,000 emails in my inbox because I don't like. I like to bring stuff up and tell people like, hey, look, you know, I have emails of what stuff cost 8 years ago. And the hardest part about running a restaurant is unrelated costs. You know, I had a refrigerator that went down this summer. Out of the blue, cost me $9,000 to replace it. But that refrigerator before COVID would have cost me $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so one day you get like when there's egg shortages, like, you know, ever since COVID, nothing surprises me anymore. It's just it's an inconvenience, and you just got to scoff it off and laugh and sort of be like, all right, I'm going to hedge this for a while until it's not viable anymore. So like a case of eggs went up four times, and you need eggs to make certain things. And you're just like, I'll take it on the chin until I can't take it on the chin any longer. Mm-hmm. Well, I took it on the chin for a long time. I didn't really raise my price. I haven't raised my prices probably since COVID, probably 2 times, 3 times, but only minuscule. A lot of places have the hospitality. See, the problem is you can own a restaurant, but if you don't know hospitality, you're in the wrong business, right? There's so many.
So how do you link the two together? Price increases in hospitality, and like where do other restaurants get it wrong?
You have to give people value. We're in a city where there's a lot of tourism. I'm sure before you had kids, or even when you had kids, you'd probably go to the Strip a lot more when there was free parking. I used to go at least once a week. I only go on special occasions or if I get invited out to go down there. The thing is, the value aspect, people aren't dumb anymore. There's so much information out there. People are becoming more well-traveled. You know, people go to Italy. I have customers, they're like in their 60s, and they go, I'm going to Italy for the first time. They come back, they go, Nick, your pasta's better than what I had out there. I go, where did you go? We went on a tour bus. I go, that's your problem.
Yeah.
You know? But the thing is, so like I try to source most of my ingredients from Italy, the best fish and meat products. We have a butchering program at the restaurant. We do a lot of meat butchering. And the thing is, there's ways to cut costs by doing that, and there's ways to bring in really good product. On my Instagram today, I posted a photo of the garlic that we serve, right? It's heirloom garlic from Gilroy, California. You can buy Chinese garlic, and it'll cost a quarter of what I paid for 20 pounds. But the problem is there's no flavor. It's like that shit that you buy in Costco, and they put all the canola oil, and it's already minced, and there's no flavor, and it's yellow. It's like orange, right? But then I can get California garlic that's down the street from where I get the garlic from in Gilroy, but it's $30 less a case. Do you think people will know the difference? No, but I know the difference.
I don't know. I think there is something to be said about you do know the difference.
Yeah.
Not like in the way that you do.
Right.
But when you like, let's use that as a segue. We talked about Joe Rogan and Theo Von coming to your restaurant, and then in Theo Von's podcast, he was talking about it and like recapping.
Right.
Oh my God, Joe took us to this place called Gaetano's. I think it was like in Henderson or something.
Shingles of the God.
Yeah, and he described your ravioli as the shingles of the gods.
That's right.
I mean, what a poetic description. So then on your Instagram, I'm smart, capitalize on that. If you want to know what is the shingles of the gods, as Joe and Theon call it, here's what it is. And you're cooking.
I'm cooking what they had, yeah.
And what you said is you talked about the secret is the mushrooms, the porcini mushrooms that you get from Italy, right?
From Europe.
From Europe, excuse me, not from China.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. So as a consumer of a restaurant, I think mushrooms are mushrooms. I imagine you get them somewhere from around here for logistic purposes. I didn't realize that you have an option of probably like, I don't. Does anyone grow mushrooms in Las Vegas?
Oh yeah, there's some boutique mushroom growers.
So you can do that. You can do California. If they come from there, I don't know.
But
if
dried
they do.
porcini mushrooms are a whole different.
Yes,
game.
I have no idea. But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you're like, this is a thing where you're emphasizing.
Yeah.
This is the secret.
Yeah.
It's that, but it's also like when I encourage anyone to go watch a video. It's not long, but the fascinating thing, the observation is, there is technique involved.
Yes.
Like when you put the ingredients in to make the sauce and whatnot, but the ingredients themselves
Are all premium.
they're all premium. You talk about that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the quote is, we don't buy shit mushrooms from China.
One of the ingredients we put in that sauce is prosciutto cotto. So prosciutto cotto is cooked ham, right? In the United States, you can buy Hormel ham. That's prosciutto cotto. It'll cost you, I don't know, $35 for a 10-pound log. Well, the prosciutto I'm getting is 15 pounds, and it costs almost 2 times that. And you put them side by side, you'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to take the red label Leoncini instead of the Hormel. You know, it's like liquor. You're not going to drink Jose Cuervo 1800. Mm-hmm. No, you're going to have a better tequila because for an extra few dollars more, it ain't going to give you a hangover and the flavor's better. And there's no diffusers. So
you're in your business at a certain level, like the ingredients matter.
Oh, 100%.
And the costs, like you're incurring more costs than what you could if you get lesser ingredients.
The biggest ingredient that drives me nuts is chicken, right? And when my dad ran the restaurant, he used a lot of good ingredients, but some stuff he goes, we'll just use this and whatever, it's this price. So a 40-pound bag of random chicken breasts. To backtrack, my wife got chicken breast one time at the market. It wasn't organic. I cooked it. The breast was the size of my forearm, like this. Mm-hmm. What kind of chicken did this come from, right? So I cook it. You know when you eat a lot of garlic, you can smell it through your pores.
Yeah.
I eat so much garlic, I can't smell anymore. But I ate the chicken. The next day, I smelled like chicken stock for 2 days. It freaked me out. I'm like, it's the hormones, the sodium, the water that they pump through these things. I didn't eat chicken for 10 months. Then at the restaurant, I started getting people to send back chicken. What the hell's wrong with this chicken? So I tasted it, and it was the random chicken breast. And I go, we got to make a change. So I went 100% organic chicken. That cost me 3 times more per pound than the random chicken. And I guarantee 99% of the restaurants out there are using that shit random chicken. And they're charging either the same price that I charge for chicken parm or a side of chicken with your Alfredo sauce or whatever, or $3 or $4 less. But when I never had one chicken sent back since I did that change. And it cost me, and I don't care. I want people to know that I have the best chicken parm.
Yeah, I mean, to put this in sort of like...
Jared was here at Saturday night at 9 o'clock getting chicken parm.
He loves your chicken parm.
Yeah.
I have a marketing degree from UNLV also.
Yeah.
And Seth Godin is sort of my marketing professor. I feel like I'm a Seth Godin disciple. And he uses the word remarkable in the context of marketing. And it says, like, if to be remarkable, it sounds simple, but like, it should be worthy of someone remarking. Like you have Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn and Alex's press secretary or whatever. Now Alex, now me. I would say Jared. So I haven't been to your restaurant in probably well before pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And Jared and Amy, his wife Amy, are like, oh no, we're regulars.
Yeah.
So my wife and I make the trek out from Summerlin. We've been twice now in the last 30, 45 days. We'll probably come more because it's worth it. It's remarkable. It's worth remarking about. And all these things that you're talking about, like the choice of ingredients, the craftsmanship, not just in the drinks, but in the food, the service. I mean, it's all...
And to get back to the hospitality side.
In the hospitality, yeah.
To get back to the hospitality side, I love going out to support small businesses, especially family-owned restaurants. The thing that drives me... My dad always had this saying. He says, Nick, the food is always going to be consistent. The most important thing after the food is the service, right? I hate going to a restaurant where, just say, I go to my local Mexican spot in Henderson. I go at least once or twice a month. I know the owner. I'm friends with the owner. But even though if he's not there, everybody knows me by face, right? If you go to a restaurant more than 5 times within 3 months and they don't know you by face, that's not hospitality. That's not hospitality. I had a customer come 2 nights in a row, Saturday and last night. And he comes and he said, I go, welcome back. They go, you remembered? I go, of course. You were sitting over there. You had this to eat and you had that to eat. Even though I didn't take their order, I saw what they ate when I walked by. They go, you really know what you're doing. I go, I'm like, I know, like you know. And the coolest thing about the hospitality now, it's so easy to do, but people are so lazy. And I'll give you a good example. OpenTable is the biggest database network that I have. I went to school for marketing. My favorite class was the nerdiest class you can do in marketing, database marketing. Back then, you had to use Excel to do it, right? Now, I can open up my app on my phone. I have a customer who comes in. They go, I don't know which wine I had. Well, I see they've been here 28 times. I really liked that wine last time. I go on my phone, see when the last time they showed up, what they spent. It's linked up to my POS system. And now I can be like, oh, you had this wine. Let me get it for you. Right?
Or if you like this, let me recommend that.
Exactly. If I don't have that wine at the time.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's like the hospitality aspect is so easy because people like to be recognized and they like familiarity, you know, and, you know, it's like if I have a customer who likes a certain scotch, I'll get them that scotch if they come all the time.
When does someone become a regular? I did want to ask you
That's
that.
a good question. I get answered this question all the time. If you come once a month consistently, I would consider someone a regular. Even if you come, I got a lot of people who have second homes here. And if they come, I got one customer from Florida. They're in and out of town, but they come twice a week when they're in town. They're a regular. You know them by their name. You know what they like to eat and drink. It just all depends the situation. But most of the time, if you come once a month, I'll consider you a regular. Yeah.
So I was researching this. I found an article written by a mutual friend of ours, Ruth Furman.
Yeah. She did PR for me for a little bit.
Yeah. So the article is from 2022, and the title is something like "Owner of Gaetano's Travels to Italy."
Yes.
So you talk about your Italy junkets. I know junket's not the right word. I just think it's a good word.
No,
fun
it's
word.
fine.
It's a fun word to say.
Yeah, it's a fun word.
When did you start that? What is it, and when did you start that?
I started in 2022. Unfortunately, I haven't been in the past 2 years due to the bar remodel and certain people, key players in our restaurant that are asking for time off. I really wanted to go to olive oil harvest this year, but I have to wait next year. It started because it's like if you did a trade, right? Just say you're in textiles, right? And you wanted to learn more about making a better suit or this and that. You'll go to a trade show, right? And you'll go to the source. You'll go to, I don't know, Hong Kong, and you go to this place and check it out and see what can better your business, right? So my wife and I had a trip planned for Sicily, Amalfi Coast and Rome in 2022. We go to the fancy food show, which left San Francisco to go to Vegas. I walk this corner and I go, look at Sarah, they got this booth with all this Sicilian stuff. I'm going to talk to these people. I've heard of their product, but I didn't know it that well. And we became like, it's like, you know, you're Israeli. If you meet another Israeli at a thing and you're like, hey, you hit it off, right?
Yep.
These people made olive oil, olives, canned sodas, like all natural sodas. And we hit it off. And Tommaso, who's my good friend from Partana, the Asaro family, When I went to Sicily to visit them, here's a crazy story. I'll be really quick. It took us 34 hours to get to Sicily because my dumbass wanted to take Emirates business class just for the experience. So there was an 8-hour layover to do that, and then I had another 4-hour layover in Rome to get to Palermo. But at least I said I experienced it. I got Marty Paz helped me on the point situation, so it didn't cost me that much money. So it took us 34 hours to get there. We get in this hotel that's part of the Planeta Wine family, really nice small hotel, 10 rooms. And Sarah and I were like, it's like 9 o'clock. We're like, oh, thank God we're in the hotel. We get a knock on the door. Sir, you want to do room service tonight? I'm like, yeah, we just got in. Like, let us chill. 3 minutes later, another knock. Tommaso's at my door. I go, Tommaso, what are you doing here? He goes, oh, my farm is right down the street with my house. And I come to surprise you. Let's do dinner tonight. That dinner ended at 1:15 in the morning. And I had to be up at 8 o'clock to go to my anchovy producer 40 minutes away. So it's like, so when we go to Italy, we go, I went to olive oil, anchovy producer. I went to the place where they make my Marsala wine. I went to 5 different wineries that we have their wine on our wine list. The last trip, we didn't go to more food production, but we went to more wine production. But it's an experience because I want to know more about where my stuff is coming from. You can have Joe Schmo from Italy own a restaurant, but he physically can't see and touch where his products are coming from. I have customers ask me all the time. They go, Nick, can you do a tour with us to Italy? Like, take us out there? And I go, if I do, it's not a vacation, right? But then again, logistically, it would have to be a small group and I'd have to take time away from the restaurant. And then when I come back, it's like, I need a vacation now, So, but the thing is, it's amazing going over there with the connections that I have. Like, I went to my last trip. The last couple of days, we went to the Campari headquarters, and they took care of us at the Campari bar, and then we were in Barolo for 3.5 days, and every single day we went to 2 wine tastings, and they like pulled out the red carpet.
Sounds like a dream life.
It's amazing, but it's tough though. Because when you're drinking 4 bottles of Barolo and Barbaresco in a day, and you're just like, and in Piedmont, there's no vegetables, and it's just meat. After 3 days, you're like, take me to Torino. I want an aperitivo and a salad. And that's what I did. I had an aperitivo and a salad every day when I was in Torino. But it's the cool part about the business. But you have to limit yourself because it can get out of control sometimes,
Just to kind of stay with Ruth for a second. She says this about you. I'm really impressed with Nick and the way he makes decisions. We only did a few things together, but he really wowed me. He is never stagnant, always moving forward, a great quality.
Yes.
How do you react to that? Ruth gets liberties like this because she was a previous guest on Takeaways also.
Nice. So I feel my father and mother taught my brothers and I hard work and an entrepreneurial spirit. We all have an entrepreneurial spirit. But I also learned that too when I was in AZA, because when you're in a youth group that teaches leadership qualities, I would say 95% of the people that I knew who took a leadership role in our youth group, they're very successful. And the thing is, in the restaurant business, you have to pivot. There's places to find deals to make sure that you can make profit. I'll give you a good example. And, I'm an open book. Since I took over the restaurant in 2021, my payrolls jumped 33%. How do I justify that? I don't want to raise my prices too high. So what I do is I have my prices reasonable, good quality, reasonable prices, where I'd rather do more volume and get people in, right? We started a reverse happy hour program with our new bar. Reverse happy hour is 8 to 9. If you order a cocktail, beer, wine, or a mocktail, I have 23 items on my menu, you can get 50% off. You can get a filet mignon for $30. You can get chicken parm for $16. It's less than a freaking Big Mac supersized meal that you can get at McDonald's. You could also get, whatever, but it brings people in and they have this experience and they go, holy crap. I had a table of Gen Zers come in last night. They say Gen Zers don't drink. They both had 2 rounds. They had reverse happy hour and there was $100 less on their check and they were happy as can be, right? So when it comes to always moving forward, pivoting, me redoing the bar, when I did the bar, we only had 7 seats. Now I can fit 24 people in the bar area. 5 nights a week or 4 nights a week, it's packed. It's packed. The bartenders are happy. I'm happy. People are happy. I have a happy hour at the bar from 4 to 6, and then regular dining, they can get all night. But it's the things that you have to do to make sure people come and they're satisfied. And then there's always one thing that we learned in marketing that is never talked about nowadays. Because you get all these, I'm going to say this word, it's one of my favorite words. You get all these jerk-offs who are on Yelp and whatever, and they write a bad review because it might have been a little bit too expensive for their taste. But the food's completely fine. I had one of the worst fine dining experiences in my life 2 weeks ago when I went to Maine on vacation. I talked to the manager. I emailed the hotel manager. Crickets. Nothing.
No acknowledgement.
No acknowledgement. The manager says, I'm sorry. Instead of saying like, hey, can I take care of your... I sent back my meal. They still charged me. I asked for... Instead of being like, hey, let me get you some dessert or what? Nothing. So the thing is, the biggest form of marketing is word of mouth. I've been in this town 23 years, right? I have eaten at a lot of restaurants. I think my brother eats at more restaurants than me because he's around town more.
You're talking about Danny.
Danny, yeah, he's a big guy, But the thing is, I have eaten at a lot of restaurants, right? And if people ask my opinion, I'll be honest with them. Because I can taste quality and service, everything.
It's what you do.
It's like this. I can tell what, if you're a paper person, you can tell what, whatever. But the thing is, when it comes to hospitality, it's so easy. It's just the marketing aspect of it. If you treat people good, they have a good meal, they'll tell 10 other people. Simple as that. Simple as that. So I'm always pivoting.
Your business is a family business.
Yes.
There's
my wife and I now.
Now it's your wife. So it started with your dad and mom, and you and the brothers.
Yeah.
Then it sounds like for a period it was you and your mom.
Yeah.
And then it was you, and then now you and your wife.
I dragged my wife in. She wasn't too happy
Kicking
about
and
it.
screaming.
Well, here's the thing. She worked for Cirque du Soleil 22 years.
Doing what?
She ran the wardrobe shop at the Beatles Love Shows, her old job, and did hair and makeup there too. Traveled the world with Cirque du Soleil. During COVID, as we all know, laid off. She was laid off a year and a half. She got brought back she was really good in the shop to bring it back to life. But during that time, during the shutdown, I had her work at the restaurant here and there. And I go, listen, Sarah, you're good with studying, unlike me. You're good with maps, and you like to drink wine. So get your wine certification. So she runs the wine program at the restaurant. I'm very proud of her. The past 2 years, we qualified for the Award of Excellence for Wine Spectator. We have over 100 wines on our wine list. Very reasonable price. I price all my stuff a little bit less than what my dad would do. There's a way in the business where it's like, okay, if you buy one bottle of, the liquor business is really screwed up, right? And every distributor is different. So just say this bottle of water is $50. Okay, that's called frontline pricing. But if you buy just say you want 4 bottles, they'll charge you $50 and $3 broken case fee. So now that bottle's $53. But if you buy a case, it goes down to $45. But if you buy 2 cases, it'll go down to $35, right? I'd rather buy 2 cases all day long and charge my customers the right price for that bottle of wine than buy because a lot of restaurants, they go on the frontline pricing. That was the old way. My dad used to do it. So if he bought a $50 bottle of wine, he would charge $150 for it.
But to do it your way with the 2 cases and the volume discount, so to speak, you really have to know what you're buying. You have to marry a couple things. You have to marry the kind of wines that you want to serve with the food that you're serving.
100%.
The kind of wines you think your customers are gonna want or
100%.
enjoy.
Yeah.
And what else? Like there,
It has to be, every wine that we pick has to be food specific. If it goes with our,
yeah.
I know I'm going to talk shit about this wine, but I don't care because it's garbage. It's garbage.
Which wine?
Caymus.
Caymus.
Caymus is like soaking a fruit roll up in Franzia and drinking it. Right? It's the worst shit that you can buy. Old Caymus from the 80s was great. Then they got too commercialized. They're buying grapes from everywhere, this and that. The thing is, I have all these big wineries from California. Oh, put Silver Oak, put Caymus. You should do this. You should do that. Doesn't go with my food. I could probably sell, and I kid you not, I could probably sell 50 cases a year of Caymus, but it's not going on my wine list because it doesn't go with my food.
You're so passionate.
I have to be. You have to be.
So the family dynamic as it relates to the menu, I'm curious about.
Yes.
You've got clearly your dad's recipes.
Yes.
You've talked about items that is my grandma's recipe.
Yes.
Is there like a book somewhere in the kitchen that these are like the family recipe? How does that work?
There's no book. There's no book. It's just passed down. To be honest with you, and this was the shitty part of my timing. I actually my dad turned 70 on his birthday, 2 days before his heart attack. I gave him a card. I said, we're going to write a book this year. Never happened. And he had the best stories and just, but anyhow, I have recipes. I have it written down, but eventually I want to make a book about my life in the restaurant business and have some recipes in there.
But how do you know the grandma's artichoke recipe?
Oh, that's a family. When I went to Sicily, my uncle made a stuffed artichoke with meatballs. I tried to recreate it, but I couldn't because the artichoke's like fresh from the farm that day when he got it. It's just old school Sicilian recipe, man. It's when I was it was watching and learning that way from my father. I go, Dad, how many anchovies you know to put in the breadcrumbs? Just shut up and look. That's what he always told me. Just shut up and look. I thought my name was Shut Up for a while because I asked so many goddamn questions. He was just shut up and look. So the thing is, my menu is an homage to my family, but almost an homage to Italy. Because we used to market ourselves a lot as Northern Italian. So Northern Italian is butter, heavy dishes, cream sauces.
Sounds amazing.
So what people, and I'll get to the part of Italian food regarding that. So if you just say this is Tuscany right here, this where this knob is. South of Tuscany, they don't use any butter. It's only olive oil because they grow olive trees. North of Tuscany, they use more butter and cream. Now, here's the problem with Italian food. If you get 100 Italians in here and you make one dish, you'll get 100 different opinions because they say, my grandma was going to do this. This person does it this way. I'm from Abruzzo. They do it this way. I'm from Sicily. They do it this way. I'm from Venice. They do it this way. So there's all these different ways. Like this Amaro right here. There's Campari. I considered an aperitivo Amaro. Dark, I could consider an Amaro. And the Barolo Chinato I gave you last time you're at the restaurant is considered an Amaro. It's a wine-based Amaro, like a Vermouth wine-based Amaro. But no, Italians will say, if it ain't dark, it ain't Amaro. All right. So the thing is with Italian food, it's so complex. And you have so many different opinions. And so many people are just pain in the asses about it. So with our menu, what I do is, no, seriously, it's like the same thing with Mexican food. There's all the different regions. You know, Japanese food's Japanese food. You have noodles and you have sushi. And whatever.
Someone might argue that.
hey,
I don't know
could-
enough about Japanese cuisine to make a stand.
I don't
here,
know
but
that enough, but you know what I'm saying.
I
right?
hear you. I hear
So
you.
the thing is, each little village and town and every area is different. But the thing is, our menu pays homage to my family with certain family recipes. Like my dad's mozzarella sticks that are stuffed with pistachio, and then the mezzaluna veal ravioli, shingo of the gods, the eggplant rollatini, his ossobuco recipe, I'll put up to anybody's. I've been to Milan. I eat ossobuco twice there. They all sucked compared to mine, right? So it's an homage to my family, and it's also an homage to Italy. I have 18 different homemade pastas on my menu, pasta dishes. So we're taking, instead of using pine nut pesto, which is from Liguria, I'm using pistachio pesto, which is from Sicily. And also, just for all the listeners out there, 99.5% of pine nuts come from China. You can get pine mouth from that shit. So
What's pine mouth?
If you eat too many pine nuts, you can get pine mouth and you get like,
that an
like
actual
a
thing?
reaction. Oh yeah, just Google it. So the thing is, like, I have cacio pepe with bucatini. I have guanciale from
Cacio
Tuscany.
pepe is kind of like the avocado toast of the day. Like avocado toast came out of nowhere and then was on every menu. I feel like cacio pepe is now like the equivalent in a way.
It is, but
not that it's
but
bad. I'm
people
just
do it
making an
wrong
observation.
because I make the pasta fresh and I get the quarter wheel of pecorino romano. I have a
love
little
this.
grinder.
You love this.
I love it. I have a little grinder. We grind the cheese fresh. And because a lot of people, they buy it in a bag. You don't know. They use cake separating stuff so it doesn't clump together. So you don't know how long it's been in the bag. I do it fresh. And our breadcrumbs are fresh. That's why anything that's breaded and pan fried tastes delicious. And we do the pepper fresh. I buy my guanciale for our carbonara from Tuscany. They age it in the marble like they do traditional guanciale. I buy organic egg yolks for that. You know, I buy wild boar from Texas, the neck meat, the best meat of the wild boar, for my parpadelli cinghiale. I buy lemons that are preserved from Morocco for one of my pasta dishes. Like, I go out of the way just to find the coolest stuff that if you went to Italy and you ate the best restaurant, the best pasta dish, and you come here and have cacio pepe and you go, oh my God, that tastes exactly like Italy. You don't need to go to Italy. You come to Henderson, you know?
Henderson's far. Henderson's far.
A lot less farther than Italy.
Yeah, I asked you once when you're going to open in Summerlin.
Yeah,
I'm sure you get
one
that.
restaurant's a headache, two's a nightmare. My parents opened up a second restaurant when they were in LA, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
There was a lot of
You can't, like everything you just did, this whole last little riff about the passion, the ingredients.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine how you do that in two places at once unless you either clone yourself or find a
You'd have to
strong
find
number two.
A strong number two is far and few between.
Right.
Because
what's in it for them? So
exactly. So when I started the restaurant, when my wife and I bought it from my mom, I created a hospitality group. And that hospitality group, maybe down the road, is going to open up another venue or so. Here's the thing. Fine dining is way too complex. To me, if I go to a restaurant that says they're fine dining with no tablecloths, you're not fine dining. I'm sorry. So, like, to me, to do fine dining, I love it. I grew up with it. But to do a second location it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And the details is so minute. It's like I'm like the
So Gaetano's
conductor.
Gaetano's Summerlin is not likely.
No, I live 12 minutes from my house. Why would I do a Gaetano Summerlin? It took me 25 minutes to get here. So, but I do have visions of concepts in my mind, what I want to do more fast casual, with really good ingredients that will blow competition out of the water, like 100%.
All right, can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Tell me what's on the table here.
So we have two different Amaros here. We have Amaro Averna from Sicily. I actually
That's this one?
Yeah, that's in the Sicilian Old Fashioned. I actually went to the distillery in Sicily. So they have an interesting story. It was founded...
Check. Which one do I crack first?
Just do the Averna. It's a little bit more subtle. And you can actually put it in the same glass as the Old Fashioned. So it's a little bit sweeter.
I had a fear I wasn't going to be able to open this, and I'd have to pass it to you.
It's okay. So this Amaro is 1858 Salvatore Averna. got the recipe and started marketing it. It was actually an Amaro. So Amaro is a bittersweet liqueur from Italy, digestive. You drink it after dinner to digest everything.
What's it made out of?
So there's 32 herbs in this one. 3 of the main herbs that they'll tell you is lemon, orange peel, and pomegranate. There's another herb that I found out when I went backpacking in Europe in 2007 when I visited my family. My family's town is Gela, Sicily. It was founded in 678 BC by the Greeks. They have a Greek ruin area. I was walking with my dad's cousin. He's showing me these Greek ruins, and he starts pulling this bush out of the ground. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? He takes out his pocket knife. He starts pulling back the root. He goes, chew on this. I started chewing the root. The first thing I tasted was Averna. And it was licorice root. They have these little licorice bushes that grow around Sicily. So it was a monastery in Caltanissetta, Sicily, that the monks used to make this. But then they started having financial troubles. The old label is so cool and interesting. They did this stupid like new age label. I reached out to the CEO of Campari. No, I actually reached out to the CEO of Campari on LinkedIn. And I told him this label's bullshit. You got to go to the
respond?
back. Oh, yeah. And then my friend who's worked for Campari 12 years, he goes, you know how many times I tried to email that guy and he never got back to me?
But he got back to you?
Got back to me.
Good.
So the thing is, Salvatore Averna was a textile merchant and very successful. He loved it so much that he wanted to buy it and commercialize it. What happened is the monks said no until their monastery lost money and they needed money. So the distillery is still in the monastery. I went there. It was amazing. And there's only about 2,500 people who visit the distillery every year because it's like central Sicily, sort of hard to get to. So Averna got popular because the King of Savoy, when Italy unified in like 1860s, the King of Savoy, that was his favorite Amaro. And the original label has his brioche from his like coat of arms on it. So this is the first Amaro I ever drank. I say this is the gateway to get into Amaro, right? It's not super bitter, but it's like, to me, you can sip it. Beautiful to put on the rocks with a little rosemary or thyme with a little bit of lemon or orange peel. But the beautiful thing about making cocktails with this, there's so many ingredients, it elevates a cocktail.
This isn't bitter at all.
Slight bitterness.
I don't
to
taste
me,
any.
Maybe it's the... To me, about 15, 20 years ago, had a little less sugar. But to me, it's good. After a heavy meal, why not? You know?
That's really good.
This one right here, we have Fernet Branca. This is the king of Fernets. So there's a saying that sounds like an oxymoron, but it's not. All Fernets are Amaros, but not all Amaros are Fernet. There's one ingredient in Fernet that makes it a Fernet, and that's aloe which is dried aloe. If you take dried aloe and you put it in a mason jar and you let it sit for, 3 to 4 weeks, and you open it up, it smells like a barn, smells like manure, piss, and hay, right? But the thing is...
Can't wait to drink it.
Don't worry. But the thing is, when they add it to Fernet, it gives it a menthol-like taste. Mm-hmm. Have you had Fernet before?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how do you say this?
Fernet Branca.
Fernet Branca.
So Branca is the family, but Fernet's the style. They're celebrating...
Remember the movie Batman with Christian Bale?
Yeah.
And Alfred?
Yeah.
Remember Alfred?
Yeah.
So he has this monologue where he talks about he's, in Italy, whatever, and he's sipping his Fernet Branca. But the way he says it, did I say it right?
Yeah, you said it right.
The way he said it with his accent is just so beautiful.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever heard of this, Fernet Branca. And then I got into these disgusting after-dinner drinks, as Jared would call them.
And you kept texting me which one I should get.
Grappa. This is another Nick story over the years. Is anytime I'm at a restaurant and they have this on the menu, this or grappa. Tell me about grappa after. But
Yeah.
I will send you a picture.
Yeah.
And say, what should I order?
Yeah.
And you're usually like, second one down, this one, and you give me the whole history like we just did about these two. Sorry. Keep going.
So they've been around since 180 years. They just celebrated this year. This was the second Fernet to market. So
it smells minty.
Smells really minty. And let me just tell your listeners something. If you feel like you're getting a cold,
drink this.
Hold on. You put in a coffee mug, and you put about 2 ounces in there. You put it in the microwave for 40 seconds, but you don't drink it right away. You put underneath in the menthol and the herbs. It's almost like Vicks.
Yeah.
And you smell it and you're just like, it's so powerful with the alcohol. You're like, oh my God. So you smell it. And then when it gets you feel the cup once it gets lukewarm, you shoot it and you can feel everything in your chest like just separate. Like just all the shit that's in your lungs and everything. It's amazing. And these have been around for
and you think it's what? All the herbs and stuff?
Oh,
that's
100%.
inside?
These things have been around for 2,500
like
years. I joke around. I've never got
Wives' tale.
COVID because I drink Amaro all the time, you know? So ideally, chilled or on the rocks. But if you have a...
Much more bitter.
Much more bitter. Has sort of like a tarish feel at the end. But that's just all the herbs macerated.
And then it's like now I'm tasting all the variety of different herbs.
So they make a mint one that I have a case at my house. My wife and I drink almost every night when we watch TV. We put on a big rock. And the mint one has an interesting story because in the early 60s, the Branca family had seats at the Milan Opera House. So there was this big, beautiful bar next to the Opera House. So after the show, they see Maria Callas, the famous opera singer, have a julep glass with crushed ice, and she has Fernet in there, and she's like this and getting the mint leaves in there to get the oils out inside there. So she's sitting right here, Branca family sitting right here. Being Italians and being offended, they're like, what are you doing to our good product? And she says, well, the oil from the mint soothes her throat after a performance. It coats it. And that's how they made Branca Menta.
Aha.
Yeah. So to get into grappa. So I have a hilarious grappa story, and then we'll get into the grappa. So when I was a kid working in Calabasas, I must have been 14 at the time. It was towards the end of the night. A younger couple in their early 30s comes to the bar. So traditional grappa glasses has a bulb with a little flute on top. So you pour it until where the bulb is, which is usually 1.5 ounces, and then whatever. So this couple, the lady says, oh, look at those cute glasses. And my dad goes, oh, these glasses right here. And she goes, yeah, what is it for? And my dad goes, Italian gasolina. And she goes, well, what's Italian gasolina? Grappa. And I explain it much more differently now because of this experience. And she goes, well, I went to USC and we used to drink Goldschlager every weekend. I'll take a grappa. How much is it? So like we had this grappa that was just god awful. It was called Grappa Giulia. It was more of a gag than anything. And just to let you know, 90% of grappa that's produced in Italy is produced in 10 distilleries. 10% of grappa is produced in family crafted distilleries. So this Grappa Giulia was definitely not a family distillery. So my dad goes, there's a good grappa and there's a shit grappa. What do you want? And she goes, well, how much is it? And at the time it was like $6 a shot and the good stuff was like 14, right? So she takes it.
The shit or the good?
The shit. Grappa Giulia.
Money.
Yeah, Grappa Giulia.
Okay.
She shoots it, right? And
You're supposed to sip it.
Sip it, relax. And grappa is a digestive too, right? She shoots it. And you know when you get like the shakes from the alcohol, you like drink something and you're like this? She was shaking for like 30 seconds. My dad and I.
The flavor.
Yeah, she's like, and it burns. And my dad and I were looking at each other like, I think he gave her a seizure and we just start laughing. And then when she was done, she goes, what the hell was that? And my dad goes, I told you it was Italian gasolina. And so that's the problem with grappa. There's so much shit grappa out there, like vermouth, where it's like, and even like vodka and tequila and whiskey. There's garbage out there, but people don't mind paying for it because it's cheap.
I think they either don't know or it's a pricing thing.
So,
like, not everyone has Nick Palmeri's cell phone number, and they could text them the menu and say, "Which one do I order?" And
message me on Instagram if I see it. I
never got steered wrong.
Yeah. So grappa is the pomace of wine.
What's pomace?
So when they crush wine, and here's the problem.
It's made from grapes.
Grapes. It's brandy. Grappa's brandy.
Okay.
Same category as brandy Pear Williams from France, cognac, whatever. It's brandy. It's fruit.
It's Italian brandy.
It's Italian brandy. So the problem is when people say, oh, grappa's made with seeds and stems and the skin of the grapes. Mm-hmm. Well, if you give people seeds and you give people stems, there's so much ethanol in there, they'll get liver disease and go blind. They don't do it that way. So when they crush the grapes, they get the meat in the skin, and it literally looks like a chum almost, like of just grape and skin seeds.
I could picture it.
And then what they do is, when I was in Piedmont in Alba 2 years ago, it was the beginning of harvest, and we went to one of my favorite grappa distilleries. Unfortunately, they don't distribute to Las Vegas anymore. It's called Montanaro, and they got a delivery of Moscato grape to make Moscato grappa, right? And then
now that sounds amazing.
This place was, if I didn't have to drive to Torino and I could stay in Alba, I would have drank all morning. Like, it was amazing. I was like a kid in a candy store. I'm not an alcoholic, but if you get an opportunity to be at a place that you love and to try stuff that you'll never try ever again, it's a different story. You're on vacation, right? So we go to Montanaro, and they had a coffee still. Do you know what a coffee still is?
No.
So a coffee still is an old school still that Takamura Yamagachi, I think, who started Hibiki.
Okay.
He created the still. And I'm also a certified spirits expert too. So like I know a bunch of shit about spirits and history.
Like for a non-student kind of a person, you describe yourself. So you have encyclopedic knowledge of a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. So this guy created this still, and he went to the World's Fair in Chicago in the early 1900s. He fell in love with this Illinois woman whose family owned one of the largest whiskey distilleries in Illinois, and he started working for him. And he said, you should do a coffee still instead of a pot still to make whiskey. It takes longer to produce the the white lightning from a coffee still because it's taller and this and that. So at this distillery in Montanaro, the Grappa distillery, they do a coffee still. But then I'm asking Sarah, who was our tour guide, I go, where's the computers? I've been to wineries, I've been to whiskey distilleries in Kentucky. There's more computers and sensors. She goes, we don't have computers here. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have computers here? She goes, there's guys who've been working in the distillery since they've been 18 years old, and they're in their 80s. And there's these big copper pressurizers that they put the pomace in. Mm-hmm. And it steams it, and it goes through the whole copper system up a 30-foot column still, and then it drops. And I got photos I could show you, but there's this container that it drops. And it's not like whiskey where there's like, I don't know if you've ever been to a whiskey distillery, and there's like that thing, and there's like white lightning just going through. This thing just drops. And she goes, from October to March, we do 60,000 liters of grappa. They do Moscato, they do Barolo, they do Arniers, they do Gewürztraminer, they do all these different grappas, right? And then they have an aging room where they take old Barolo and Barbaresco barrels and they age it in there. And the smell was like Christmas. It's like if you
say Christmas, I'm going to gingerbread.
I'm talking raisin, allspice, cinnamon with grappa, and you're just like, oh my! And there's like some of the barrels were like 50 years old, and there's like grappa oozing out of them, and then it was just like it was heaven. And the funny part about the whole grappa story is 2 days later, my cousin Michael lived between Milan and Lake Maggiore. My first cousin, we're really close. And we went to visit him, and he makes 6 different styles of pizza for us. And it's like 10:30 at night, and I'm just like, my stomach's out to here. I'm just like, I drove 4 hours that day. I'm just like exhausted. I'm like, do you have like any Amaro? And he goes, yeah, grappa. We go for grappa. Digestif. I'm like, where's the grappa cabinet? He goes, no, we go get a little the gelato. We go to the grappa. We drove 15 minutes away to Lake Missouri at midnight on a Wednesday. There were kids running around, right? And we had grappa at midnight. So, like, it's so engulfed in the Italian culture. Like, my whole thing about the restaurant is I want to bring the Italian culture to my restaurant. That's the whole thing. You go to an average Italian restaurant, it's like, all right, here's your, like, here, okay, you want an espresso? Okay, here's espresso. My espressos, I serve an almond biscotti because that's what they do in Italy. I'm paying extra to give that experience, right? There's so many things that I want people to experience because they don't go to Italy. A lot of people don't even travel outside the state, you know? But I want people to experience something that they've never experienced before. And that's what I love. That's what gets me going.
That's awesome. That's the point of your junkets.
Yep.
All right, let's do some rapid fire takeaways.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about Snappo Razzo hot dogs.
My best friend, Ralph Perazzo, one of my best friends in the industry, he started this years ago. Make a long story short, he's a master of meat. He's a master butcher. He knows how to do stuff. I'm a firm believer in quality.
Clearly, that was not apparent, by the way,
clearly,
at all through this conversation.
I would give my last dollar. I would give my last dollar to have something great to eat than eat something that's nostalgic. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, Snapperazzo's, he has a hot dog line. He just got certified kosher for his pickles. They're all commercially based, so they have them in some stores in town that you can buy it, but mostly they're commercially based. He does a dry aged beef slider that I have access to. Does
he have a restaurant in town?
No.
Where do you get this stuff?
Through distributors. I got connections.
I can't get this. You're saying
just ask me.
Let me tell. So, Allegiant opens up.
He was in Allegiant,
right? So I go to the Raiders games.
Yeah,
I don't remember if you told us or if we found it, but then I knew that there was a connection with you. I think you posted something about this. My Allegiant Raiders game experience involved walking through the front door, walking on the 100 whatever level, all the way over to the Snappo Razzo. There was one stand.
Yes,
I'd get for everyone who was at the game because eventually everyone wanted the Snappo Razzo hot dog.
That's right.
So I'd walk over there. I'd order, it was either one for me or 5 because everyone wanted one.
Right.
And I'd walk all the way back to our seats, it's basically like you go halfway across the stadium and then halfway back.
Right.
But that was the Raiders game day experience.
Right. He closed after, I think, the second year. Too much politics.
It was a shame.
It was too much politics with the vendors.
If anyone's hearing this, bring back the Snappo Razzo to Allegiant.
Maybe one of these days. It's one of my concepts.
We got to talk about this dry-aged slider.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of people I know, including myself, fantasize about owning a restaurant. What advice would you give us?
Don't do it.
I knew you'd say that. What is that the real advice? Don't do it?
Okay, give me 3 minutes. I know this rapid fire, give me 3 minutes. Most people who fantasize about owning a restaurant don't even know how to cook. Don't even know how to bartend. Don't even know how to wash dishes. Don't even know how to fix a pipe. My father taught me how to wash dishes, be a plumber, clean a toilet, food prep, bartend, serve. My mom taught me how to manage the books, be an accountant, cost control. If you're not there every day, stuff will get stolen. My crew's been with me for over 10 years. They know not to mess with me. Mm-hmm. But most restaurants, you get people stealing from the back out the door, and you won't even know what happens. Most people I know who are very successful, who want to open up a restaurant, only do it for tax purposes because they're making way too much money, and they need write-offs as losses.
Good point. What's one thing people get wrong about the restaurant business?
That everybody who works in a restaurant is an idiot. They think a lot of people who work in the service industry, they just do it because they weren't good in school and whatnot. Guess what? I wasn't good in school, but I'm pretty smart when it comes to street smarts, business smarts, a lot of things.
Ingredients.
Clearly, I have one of my one of my really good servers, he has a master's degree in theater, but his passion is theater. He still does theater stuff, but he works with me at night. You know, I got people who are, I had one of my servers was he owned 4 restaurants in Michigan. And then he got sick of it. He got into education. He started having a family. He worked for me for 8 years. He was one of the best employees I ever had. And now he's an assistant principal for Pinecrest Academy. You know? So I think a lot of people look at service industry people, if you're like white collar, it doesn't matter what type of person you are. They're like, this person's like whatever. You know, they're an idiot. No, people do it either because they can make easy money because we tip people out every few times a week, or they do it based off of, their passion and just dealing with the public.
What's one thing customers get wrong about restaurants and Gaetano's?
One thing customers that get wrong, here's the thing. One thing that customers get wrong with Gaetano's is that the perception of the interior. Sometimes I know service industry people, we get a lot of service industry people, and they come in and like on their days off, they'll be casual or wear shorts or whatever. And like, I won't turn people away if they're wearing shorts or, but no workout clothes, no tank tops for men, things like that. The thing is, the perception, I think the problem is that, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
What do people get wrong about restaurants and about Gaetano's?
Okay, so the biggest thing is that, and with Gaetano's, and if you look at our pricing, because I look at pricing all the time with my competitors and what's around town, our pricing for the product that we serve, we have tablecloths. We give you a complimentary basket of bread. Most places are charging for bread. I get the ciabatta made in house, or from a bakery in town, in the focaccia we make in house. If I was any regular restaurant, I would charge $5 for that bread. The second basket's $5, but the first basket's complimentary. So the perception is we do give a really good value for your money, right? The biggest misconception with the restaurant business is that people glamorize about it. Like, you have to grind. Like, I work 80 to 100 hours a week, sometimes more. This is the busy season. Sometimes I'm working 120 hours a week. Customer says, "Oh, you just came back from vacation. When's the next time you're going to take off?" I go, "My birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's." So I'll probably have, and then Dan Levy's wedding is this weekend. So I'm probably going to have 6 full days off before the end of the year. So the misconception is that, like, even though it's nice doing wine tastings at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday just to elevate your wine list, the problem is it's a very tough business. Yeah. It's a very tough business.
So if you couldn't own and run Gaetano's, what else would you be doing?
That's a good question. I'd probably do a travel company to Italy. Travel tours.
Call it Travel with Nick.
I don't know. That sounds too basic.
Too basic.
Like... Manja, like eat. I don't know. I'd have to figure something out.
That could be good. What has influenced your leadership the most?
I think what's influenced my leadership is looking at my father's fall on management. I've been in leadership roles in the fraternity, youth group. My father sort of managed with like an iron fist a little bit. There were days where he was just hot, like really hot with the employees. And you can't have people that work for you on eggshells all the time, So I think with me, the leadership aspect is showing people how to do what to do, I'm the type of person, like, I'll show... It's sort of my dad saying, just shut up and look, I'll show someone how to do something 5 or 10 times or say something a certain amount of times. But it comes to a point where sometimes with leadership, you have to be a bit stern. And when I get stern, it's like serious. I don't mess around. So leadership aspect is always acknowledging people. I always tell people, if it was a busy night or slow night, great job tonight. You did really good. This is what we can do a little bit better. I listen to we do a lot of specials at the restaurant. If I listen to an employee say something with the specials, if they said something a little bit like with their verbiage, I'm going to correct them and say like, hey, do it this way. It sounds better. People will get more excited. So there's a lot of things that...
God, there's so much that goes into it.
There's so much. It's sometimes I get home after a long day and I don't even want to talk to my wife or my dogs. There's so much into it, but I love it.
Is there a piece of life advice you give disproportionately to others?
Yes.
Don't open a restaurant. What's the next one?
No, I just, it's like any entrepreneur or anybody who has a vision. I think my brother said it probably similar the way I'm going to say it. If you want something and if you want it bad, you just gotta work your ass off. My brother, I think he said he worked 8 to 10 years with no vacation, nothing, I was having a discussion with one of my employees the night that Joe Rogan came in. I was already into like a 15-hour day, right, with no time off, and it was like 11 o'clock at night. So by the time my day was done, it was 19 and a half hours. And he goes, Nick, how was your vacation? You feel relaxed? I go, it was great, but I didn't feel relaxed. Yesterday was just awful. And he goes, what do you mean awful? And I said, well, our gas shut off because we had this maintenance thing and the guy never returned it back on. And then at the end of the night, this hinge broke off this refrigerator door and I had to turn off the refrigerator and fix it at 8:30 in the morning. And the thing is, I came back to realize, I go, listen, and he goes, man, it's just crazy. I don't know how you do it. And it takes I don't want to say it takes a crazy person in a nice way to do what we do. It does. Because if you take an average person, they can't last more than 36 hours in my shoe. They can't. And I've been doing it since I've been 18 years old. I worked 60 hours, 40 to 60 hours a week during college and was part of 2 organizations. You just get so numb of it where you're just like, this is my life. I love it. It's crazy, but it's just something that, it's a madness. It's a controlled madness. That's the best way to put it.
Books or podcasts?
Podcast and audiobooks. I don't have the time to read. So, a typical like Tuesday morning for me, I'm at the restaurant at 7 in the morning. I receive deliveries for 4.5 hours. And I got some other obligations I do after that. And then I'm back at the restaurant at 3 o'clock. So those 5 hours I listen to audiobooks. I usually get through probably an audiobook every 2 weeks. And then I got just a lot of podcasts I listen to too.
Can you recommend 2?
2 podcasts or 2 audiobooks?
Yes.
Okay.
1 and 1, 2 of 1, whatever comes to your mind.
Of course, I listen to Joe Rogan all the time, but I do like listening to a financial and economic podcast. I've been a big fan of like Peter Schiff for a long time. I know he talks about like gold all the time and things like that, but this guy predicted the .com crash and the '08 crash, and I just like having to hear a perspective on someone who, who's more of a economist based off of just like basic economic book value economics rather than like all different types. So he's pretty good. And then books, I'm a history nerd. I really enjoy, and I listened to it twice. I'll maybe listen to it a third time, but I listened to a book. I forgot the name of it, but it's about the 3,000-year history of Sicily. And the wild thing is it talked about, the first 5 minutes of the audiobook talked about my family's city. And then it talked about how like the Romans took over and enslaved the people just to produce corn and wheat for the whole Roman Empire. So like the history of the island is so fascinating. 13 different ethnicities and nationalities took it over. The most beautiful thing I got from that book is this, right? In Sicily, there was, you got the Carthaginians, the Romans, the Greeks, the Ottoman Empire. You had the Arabs. You got this. Didn't matter what religion you were, they didn't kill you because they found value in people who specialize in things that they didn't value in. But they taxed the shit out of you. So if you were a minority, they taxed you 90%, but they didn't kill you. Back then, that was civil. That was like democracy back then.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like a pretty interesting aspect. And also the reason why the Sicilian people are so welcoming and passionate and just nice people is because they dealt with so much for over the last 2,500 years.
So I hate to even ask this question. I'm sure you get this a lot. If it's not Gaetano's, which restaurant in Vegas do you recommend?
Okay, I got a handful. All right. I'm going to do mostly Henderson because that's where I live. So Mexican, ay. Dean is a friend of mine. Really good Mexican food, really good quality. Never had a bad meal there. Sushi, it's on Eastern and 215. It's called Sushi Hiro, Hiro. It's a Japanese owned. They do everything from like bento box, omakase. They get all their fish fresh. I eat there between I and there probably once or twice a month. For steakhouses, I cook a mean steak. Like I'm really good at cooking steaks. But for steakhouses, my wife and I really like Delmonico's at the Venetian. Chef, sommelier, head bartender, we all know, really good spot. I think for like, if I had more time, I'd be hanging out Sand Dollar a lot more, just eating pizza and listening to live music. They have really good pizza there.
The one on Spring Mountain?
Yeah.
They've branched out also.
They're downtown now. They have a place downtown. I really like Big B's Texas Barbecue. Natalia and Brian are friends of mine. They have 3 locations. One's right down the street from the restaurant. And my guilty pleasure is In-N-Out.
So good.
I've tried all the. And also shout out to Frank Sidoris, friend of mine. He owns Hard Hat Lounge.
Where's that?
It's on Industrial and Alta, I think, or Charleston. So it's like a 60-year-old bar. They bought it. It's still a dive bar, but they made no smoking inside, and they have a smash burger spot inside that's open from I think 12 to 2. Best smash burger I ever had in my life. Really good.
I got to check that out.
Yeah.
All right. Who would you recommend I reach out to as a future guest of Takeaways Podcast?
What type of industry?
Whoever's interesting for you that you would want to hear.
Okay. Can I name a few?
Yeah. Okay.
I would definitely have you interview my PR guy, Eric Gladstone. He does stuff for like Esther's Kitchen, James Trees, Evil Pie, Golden Tiki. He's really cool because he was like a journalist doing PR stuff, and he has a really interesting background. I would also recommend, there's so many gaming executives and people who come to my restaurant. Like those people would be really interesting to talk to because they've seen Vegas come up a long way. Maybe my architect that did my bar, James Gundy. He, right out of architecture school, he started working for Mandalay Bay Corporation that built Mandalay Bay, Luxor, Monte Carlo, and a few other spots. And he literally like learned the hospitality architectural business. He does high-end residential and hospitality, but this was when they had AutoCAD. Like now you can just do it on an iPad or whatnot. But the attention to detail that this guy has is beyond like Rain Man. It's crazy. And then I would probably it's crazy. I was talking to Danny about it. I have so many interesting customers at the restaurant. I don't think they would even want to talk on their podcast, but like I got customers who are like showgirls in the 70s and like just people who've been in town for 65 years and tell me crazy stories. And
you know this carpool karaoke bit that
Jimmy Fallon or whatever
it's not that. I don't know if it's Fallon, but it's one of the top
no, it's
guys.
that English guy. Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? He gets the person in the car, they drive around.
Yeah, he's not.
They talk and sing.
Yeah.
Like a variation of that for you could be like Dinner with Nick.
Yeah.
And in the restaurant, you have a podcast with these people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah. No, it's really interesting, the people that I meet. That's the most beautiful thing about the restaurant. I had this customer last night. I didn't really get a chance to talk to him before. The guy was 98 years old. And I hate asking people what they did for a living, like right off the bat. But we started talking, and he goes, I used to be the vice president of Gallo and Seagram's. This guy's 98, so you're talking 50 years ago.
The liquor company.
Yeah. And he goes, we used to do Sterling wine, and, you know, all wine is bullshit. Most of the wine is bullshit because one wine tastes different from another wine in the box. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this guy doesn't know about technology nowadays because that would never happen. Like, it's very consistent, you know. But I get so many cool people I get to talk to, and it's like one of the persons is like a CEO of a gaming company, super conservative when it comes to business, like concepts and ideas. And he told me a story about COVID. He had one of their metal suppliers that they built this company for this family to make their boxes for their, you know, gaming machines, was like a Nepo baby. And he signed off on his email a way that he knows his home country. I'm not going to say where the country is, but it's in Asia, would not approve the email. And he told him he needed to take the signature off the email. And it went down from the son to the grandfather who started the company. And the grandfather says, you need to talk to my son because he believes it's his son. Long story short, they disbanded the company in 3 weeks and moved it to Chicago because of that. And it wasn't based off of like, you're an awful person. It was based off of business values, that he knew that if he sent it to the home country in Asia, they would be like, we're not funding this business section anymore. So it's like interesting stuff like that. You get to talk with people.
Like stuff that's not even on your radar as a possibility. And
I just want to feed
like
people.
Anecdote, right.
I just want to feed people and make them happy. You know, that's the whole point of this business.
What's the hospitality company's name that you started?
Gaetano's Hospitality Group.
All right. So ending question. What is next for Gaetano's Hospitality Group?
Okay. So there's a component I'm working on at a different company that might be joining Gaetano's Hospitality Group. It's a sauce company that I'm working on with our tomato sauces and different types of stuff. It's always been a dream of mine to do with my dad, and it's a lot of red tape I have to figure out before I've made one batch of the product, but there's a lot of red tape I have to go with the state and whatnot in order to do it right. And I have a lot of people in the space that I know who've done it. So it's like just the next few weeks is just getting my feet wet and going through the legal process of that.
Are you going to manufacture it here?
That initially, to get started, yes. But my goal is to use a co-packer, and logistic-wise, it has to make sense. Because if you go somewhere in the country that you can get most of your product distributed to, it's going to cost less than distributing it to, just say, from Italy to California. You know what I'm saying? So the whole point of this company is to be 100% transparent of where my product is coming from and the quality. Because in the food business, there's no transparency at all. That's why Snapperazzo's are so good, because he's 100% transparent on how he makes his hot dogs. And then also, if the opportunity prevails, we're looking at expanding our dining room a little bit. We'll see what happens with the other tenants in our building, but if it works out, I'm going to make a private dining room attached to the restaurant that could seat probably 50 people. My vision is doing like a little bit of a speakeasy feel if there's no private events, with maybe jazz or blues on Fridays and Saturday nights, because there's nothing like that where I am. Just for a limited time, like 2 hours. Like I'm not going to make it like, oh, you sit down, you hog a table and have one drink type of thing. So there's that concept that I have in my head if things work out in the next year and a half. And then I also have a fast casual concept I really want to do. Right now, I'm sort of testing it with these pop-ups that I've been doing. And then there's also opportunity in the catering field that I'm looking to expand for the restaurant. And if I can use some of the concepts for the catering aspect, then we'll see where that goes. I'm just a little conservative when it comes to things like that, because I look at economic data. I look at, square footage pricing. Good thing to have my brother in commercial real estate. He helps me out on that. And then location is everything. You can't be like, oh, this restaurant just went out, I'm going to put it here. The best book that anybody can read about the restaurant business is Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain, because it shows you an insight of all different aspects of the restaurant business. And when it comes to expansion at all, it's a 2 or 3 year process with me. It took me 5 years to do the bar, because I was so scared.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did Ruth say? Never stagnant. That's you.
Never, yeah.
Never stagnant.
Yeah.
All right, I want to end with saying thank you.
You're welcome, my friend.
No, not for this. For, during COVID, it was a scary time for everyone, especially here in Las Vegas, where literally our town shut down like it never has before.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, a lot of people looked at you. A lot of people looked at me for guidance, like how it's uncertain. It's scary. And as a business owner myself, and I know others, we looked at you and what you were doing as our North Star. Like if Nick is like literally killing himself day in and day out to keep his 21, 22 people in a job,
right?
What do we have to complain about?
Right.
And you really kept a lot of us going with what you were doing.
Yeah.
You were inspiring in your voracious pursuit of quality. It's really something to be admired. Dana White with the UFC led the world in sports. Every other sport shut down. He said, we're going to find a way. And I look at you, Nick, Gaetano's at Henderson. You said, we're going to find a way. And you led, and you led us all through a very dark time. So for that, I want to say thank you. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure, Hayim.
Thank you for listening. I would love to hear from you about your takeaways from this episode. Make sure to leave us a comment or leave us a review. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can hear future episodes as they come out. My name is Hayim Mizrahi. Tune in next time.